President Trump just proposed the 50-year mortgage. But what does that look like in practice? Let's say you took out a $300,000 mortgage at 6% fixed interest. Over a 30-year term, your monthly payment would be $1,800 a month. Over 50 years, your payment would be $1,580 a month. Only $220 less per month. But over 30 years, where you would pay $347,000 in interest payments, over 50 years, you would pay $650,000 in interest payments, bringing the final amount to pay back your loan over a 30-year mortgage from $650,000 over 30 years to $950,000 to pay back your $300,000 loan over 50 years, which is the equivalent to putting a Band-Aid on a gaping bullet wound. But the reason they're doing this is there is a cost of living crisis in America, and they don't want to address the real issue. Because the cause of this crisis goes back to 1913 with the passage of the Federal Reserve Act, because it not only gave a small group of powerful bankers a monopoly over the printing of the dollar, but it established the practices of fiat currency, which is money backed by nothing, and fractional reserve banking, which allows the banks to lend out money that they don't actually have. And this started the cycle of wealth coming from debt rather than production. And then in 1965, they announced the Great Society, which established government-insured mortgages. And they framed this as a war on poverty. But in reality, it's the reason why so many are in poverty today. Because by creating an endless supply of loans for housing, they used debt to guarantee that the dollar cost of housing would go up, which was really good for the boomers who purchased here, but really bad for their grandkids. To the point where it cost $700,000 to get an 1,100 square foot starter home on Long Island, which is so expensive that young people can't afford to buy it even with a mortgage. But they don't want to address the real issue because the inflated values of all of these houses would collapse. And this is why I write books on the history of the banking system, and to teach young people to make money. And I teach courses on real history, because the Ponzi scheme that started in 1913 is falling apart. And the only way our kids have a real chance is if they're taught the truth. Check out my private homeschool community. And Cubs to Bears, books. ClassicalLearner.com.